Anthony Richardson in favor of having Joe Flacco as their starter moving forward. The move came just 2 days after Richardson took himself out of the game because he was, quote, tired. But the former top 5 pick has also struggled much of the season, completing only 44% of his passes and throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. Now, as for Joe Flacco, he steps in for Richardson this Sunday. With Richardson's inexperience a major topic of conversation, adding up their college and NFL snaps, Richardson has taken 10,710 fewer snaps than Flacco. Richardson also holds a touchdown to interception ratio of 0.9, meaning he averages less than 1 touchdown for every interception thrown. Back to my quarterback. Cam, what is your reaction to Richardson not only being benched, but benched moving forward?
Yeah, I'm going to need some time with this one. And let me bring your attention to every single quarterback that's coming into the league. Matter of fact, every single young player coming into this league. Everybody has this false perception that the NFL is easy. They have this false narrative of well, I'm the difference. They have this entitlement that looms over them as if to say, you're not playing with grown-ass men, right? I see a situation with Anthony Richardson, and to say I'm disappointed is to say the least. It's because I see a guy who has so much promise, but only starting 13 games during his college tenure, that was a big red flag. But it could still be fixed. Quarterbacks do not have time like they used to develop because teams and the people that are in these positions to make decisions don't have time either. We're looking at a league that are expecting coaches' success to happen very fast, quick, fast, in a hurry. So therefore, coaches' success is heavily contingent on quarterback success. When Anthony Richardson takes his time or takes his talents off the field, I'm reminded by a conversation Stephen A. Smith had with Tom Brady during Fanatics Fest. And one of the things that he said is you're no longer learning programs, you're learning schemes and you're learning playbooks. So when you're looking in the offseason and you're looking at OTAs, when you're looking in the offseason and you're looking at training camp, these guys aren't in particularly the people that they're not focusing on honing in fundamentals. They're focusing in, hey, do you know the motion? Do you know the cadence? Do you know the formation? All these different things. All that to say, doing what's asked of you is not enough anymore. You have to go over and beyond to master your craft. I would say these last things in my closing. As preparation for a skill set like mine, Lamar Jackson gets the praise that he gets because it is extremely hard to do what he do. He has to have the endurance of a wide receiver. He has to have the running capabilities of a running back. And you also have to have the wherewithal of a quarterback. Anthony Richardson, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, I think we understand that, though, right? Like, we understand if it was easy, everybody would do it. Hell, I would have wanted to be a quarterback, but it wasn't in my skill set. The problem is that we're getting into is now coaches understand that you're tied to the win-loss record no matter who your quarterback is. Mm-hmm. And Shane Steichen is making the decision that my career trajectory is more important than Anthony Richardson's career trajectory. He's saying that Anthony Richardson developing into the franchise quarterback that we drafted him to be 4th overall is not as important as it is to win this week. Because that's the decision he's making. He's making a decision of, do I continue to play Anthony Richardson even though he's raw, which you knew? Do I continue to play Anthony Richardson even though he's inexperienced, which you knew? Do I continue to play Anthony Richardson even though he's inaccurate, which you knew when you drafted him? These are all the things that are now coming to fruition. And these are all the things that are now becoming your issue and why you're benching him. And so what he's decided is, I'd rather win now than plan for the future of this organization and the future of this quarterback over my career. And that's fine. But we are seeing more coaches bail on quarterbacks early than we ever have. And maybe it's the fact that you don't have to pay them the same way. But Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions his rookie year. And no, in no way am I saying Peyton Manning was Anthony Richardson. Right. But they were patient because they understood that his success was paramount for the organization. Coaches ain't choosing like that no more, Cam. Everybody ain't going to be Cam Newton. Everybody ain't going to be Andrew Luck, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, where it happens right away. But what we're seeing is Molly Qerim, from the time she sat in that chair, what we're seeing is they rather send a retread around who has failed in other places and got an opportunity to grow, rather than stick with the guy that they're drafted and watch him develop at the own peril of their career.
We can't have it both ways, RC. First of all, a coach has every right to look out for their own career if
100%.
they see that it's nosediving and their career could be on the line because of the faith they placed in the quarterback that ain't getting it done. And the reason why I bring up that we can't have it both ways is because whereas Anthony Richardson is a rookie and you're talking about Joe Flacco being a retread, well, this retread is the reigning comeback player of the year who balled out last year when Deshaun Watson went down. What did the Cleveland Browns do? They said, yo, Deshaun Watson is our man. We don't want Flacco back. He wanted to go back to Cleveland, but he had to end up going to Indianapolis because the Cleveland Browns didn't want him back, even though he had guided them to the postseason last year after Deshaun Watson went down. Why did they make that decision about Deshaun Watson? Why did they place that faith in him? Because they guaranteed him $230 million. That's why. So the culture of the NFL has changed. Let me tell you where Anthony Richardson completely loses it. Now, y'all can elaborate on, and I'm quite sure when Cam brought up the disappointment, I'm quite sure when you've been disappointed, RC, because I saw you comment about it, because you ain't seen a quarterback tap out. Like literally. Not making it up, not exaggerating, not engaging in histrionics or hyperbole. He literally tapped out of the game, asked to come out, okay? That was very, very disappointing. Let me tell you something that might be worse. Do you know over the first 10 games, first career 10 games of his career as a starting quarterback in the National Football League, who Anthony Richardson right now is considered to be most comparable to, at least statistically? Do y'all want to take a guess? Want to take a guess, RC?
Zach Wilson.
Are you ready for this, RC, Kim? Jamarcus Russell. I got it right here.
What you do, my dog, Dad?
I got
what you do, Jamarcus, Dad?
Hold on. We talking facts. We talking facts, okay? Anthony Richardson, first 10 games, 50% completion. What was Jamarcus Russell? 50%. Touchdowns, interception ratio, 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Jamarcus Russell, 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Passer rating, 68.8. Jamarcus Russell, 65.9. I mean, you can't make this up. At some point in time, as we're sitting here and we're talking about an individual recognizing the 13 career starts at Florida, which is not nearly as much as he may have needed. Then we see him coming to the NFL. Then we see him being comparable statistically to Jamarcus Russell. Maybe the biggest bust, and a lot of people, him, Ryan Lee, for somebody, biggest bust in NFL history, right? We got to look at why, because we know the talent's there. If Shane Steichen has reached the conclusion, I want to go with Flacco, isn't it incumbent upon you, RC, and you, Cam, to sit back and go like this? This ain't just about what we're seeing on a Sunday. It might be about the work ethic. It might be about the practice habits. It might be about other things.
So I'm going to say this. Because I went to training camp. I talked to everyone in that building. The kid works hard.
Do.
The kid wants it.
Okay.
I'm not going to let that narrative get started, especially here with us three.
Yeah.
Right? This is a good young man.
Right.
This is a young man who, if you've listened to him, he's taking care of his mother. He's taking care of his little brother. He's a dude that shows up early, that leaves late, that was part of this organization last year when he got hurt, still in that building every day trying to learn, trying to be the best teammate he could be. So that's not the,
so let's have all right, I believe you. I don't know. You know. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. What I'm asking is this. Since that's the case, then what do you think about the decision the coach made? If he works hard, if he does things the right way, if he's committed, if he's all these things, and he's the future because you spent the top 5 pick on him and you're making this decision with the team 4-4 and still having an opportunity to get to the playoffs. Explain to the audience then why a decision like this is made.
I mean, that's the biggest question because let's say if everything was being done correctly. Let's take C.J. Stroud last year. If C.J. Stroud did the same thing last year, it would be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
this is what brings the question like, hold on, you don't just get pulled out because you took yourself out of the game. There's something deeper there, right? Now, there may not. We may be chasing ghosts. But when I look at Anthony Richardson's game, this is a guy that I'm very fond over, and I'm looking at him like, bro, I want you to win so bad.
A good kid, too.
He has to get down, first off. You have to stay in the game. The
Yeah.
best ability is availability.
But
Yeah.
how much do you think his comments impacted it? And
I don't-
just
I don't think- I don't-
coming out and saying I'm tired
I think
and
the
I
thing-
took myself out of the game. Like, how much do you think it's sending a message to everybody and to him that you cannot do that
I think-
beyond the play?
I will say this, like, that's immaturity.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is a young kid, and he's not only immature from the standpoint of his age, he's immature from the experience of leading a football
Being
team.
the guy.
Of being the guy. That's where he was unaware in that moment, one, to take yourself out at all.
Yeah.
No matter how tired you were, hey, coach, I'm going to have to hand it
But
off.
that's where your coach
Right?
understands.
The coach has to-
Don't come back with no quarterback run or don't expect me to do anything marvelous.
You got to do that, right? And so here's the reason it happened, Stephen A. You ask a question. Shane Steichen is choosing the 52 over the 1. The 1 would be Anthony Richardson. Do I stick with you? Do I allow you to develop? Do I continue to pour into you, even though I don't believe that based on what's in my quarterback room, you give me the best opportunity to win? Now, back to what Cam said about availability being the best ability. You know how we don't even know if Joe Flacco is a better quarterback with this team than Anthony Richardson? Is if he's healthy, is if he protects himself. But because you didn't protect yourself, Shane Steichen got an opportunity to see what it looks like when you don't play, to see that he can call every single thing that he wants with Joe Flacco that he can't call with you, that Josh Downs can now accelerate and ascend because he has somebody to get it to him.
The thing, like, you got to think about the 52.
field goal,
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was a great point,
Well,
RC. on that.
This is a moment where transparency actually works for somebody like an Anthony Richardson. If Shane Steichen comes out and he says, look, I have an obligation to this team to put us in the best position to win, and right now I think that Joe Flacco gives us a better chance. Anthony Richardson is the future. But right now, I don't think he's as ready as he needs to be, so we're going in this direction. The reason I say that's important is because it won't add, Father, to potential narratives, RC, Cam, that is something other than what we're seeing
You're right
between
about
the
that.
lines.
But-
It brings
but this-
it back to what's been between the lines.
I talked about this briefly on, I went more in depth on 4th and 1, my sports show. And I think the thing that kind of ticked me off most is in the offseason, he does an interview. And it's a quote that says, man, it's easier to play it in the NFL than college. And I'm like, you don't do that. You don't say that. You can condemn Lamar Jackson for a lot of things, and there's a few. And one of those things, he don't really talk. You're not going to see this from that. You're not going to see Patrick Mahomes do it. You're not going to see Jared Goff. You're not going to see these quarterbacks.
They're going to respect the game.
It's an unspoken word of like, however you feel, I'm going to tell Molly, no. Okay, we're back. That's the unspoken word of media and understanding you are a CEO of this franchise, of this city. You impact so much. So doing those things like that, it's like, no, bro, you're not that guy yet, pal.
So do you think they're sending a message, or do you think that they're done with him?
I don't think that they're done. He's too young to be done.
Yeah.
No,
He's
but
too
I mean,
young.
do you think
They're not done.
that the team is done with him?
Now, that's a whole other thing, too, RC. You know, in that locker room, bro, it gets real toxic.
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me you did what? You mean, like, these things can affect relationships. And I'll say this, and I'll give you a very vulnerable moment in my career. I didn't jump on the football in the Super Bowl. I can't post an Instagram post, a TikTok, or even a Twitter post without somebody mentioning that.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, you have now given so many people ammunition to shoot back at you. Don't do that. Not like that. And if knowing what I know now, I would have tore every ligament in my leg trying to jump on that doggone fumble, knowing what I know now. You don't just get to come into a league and just take these things for granted. And it comes back to the word immaturity.
Yeah.
So for me, when I see that, it hits home a little different because I know what you went through. I know what you go through. As a matter of fact, Siri, hey Alexa, play Cam Newton Scramble Monday Night Football with versus the Patriots. Did I come out the next play? Was I tired? Hell yeah. But those things, you just have to deal with it. It's certain times in the game, RC, you know you just got to look, hey, bro, it's time to win.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure you and Troy had a mean type of body language, and you just look, bro, I'm tired, bro, but I'm giving you everything I got. There's a famous quote of Ed Reed. Don't ask me if I'm tired. Yeah, I'm tired.
Don't ask me if I'm hurt. Yeah, I'm hurt.
Yeah, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
Those things is where you get your stripes on the field, Anthony Richardson. And for you to tap out with a game like the Texans, a divisional game, no, bro, we need you to fight.
Yeah, I respect that.
So could this be the best thing that ever happens to
It
him in his
could.
career?
It should. It should.
Molly,
I
it's
respect
the,
that. No,
it's the
I
best
really
thing.
respect that
It's the
perspective, brother,
it's the perfect thing for it's something he can learn from if
Absolutely.
he listened to what the hell Cam just said.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
real.
Because what Cam just said, every young player out there should listen. I got nothing to add. I don't even want to talk because I
Yeah, I'm
want them
done.
to remember what the hell he just said.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Appreciate that vulnerability.